Starts off, go ahead.
Yeah, Jennie, the other day you talked about hoping that they would, respond a little bit of rebounding wise, and obviously the disparity today pretty great. What did you think about the difference there from the last time y'all were here, and just the progression in that department?
Yeah, well, I think it's probably defense and rebounding. I think there's a huge part of what we're doing, but I want to give a shout out to Kaya Smith, to be honest, and Keziah Lofton. I think they have really stepped up in that capacity. I think they have provided a lot of defense for us. I think they've gained a lot of experience. I think you're starting to see them feel a little bit more comfortable as time has gone, to just get better. So as much as I want to give it to a lot of our players, especially our first five, I think they've really started to elevate. I do think that there's a secondary component to that, and I think those two have really been catalysts for it.
With Keziah off the bench tonight, 12 points, 8 rebounds, how could you speak to her progression throughout this season so far?
Yeah, she's just getting better and better. I think her guarding is just continuing to elevate, and we need that. And I'd echo that with Kaya as well. I think they both are really starting to see what this team needs, and that's what they need to be able to do. And so they're creating points because of it. And so I think early on you try to, especially as a freshman, or, Kaya's a sophomore, obviously, who didn't have a ton of experience last year, but you really try to kind of prove yourself or come in and you're trying to do, different things. And I think they're really starting to shift their focus in terms of how they serve their teammates. And in a way to serve this team, that's what they got to do. And I think they've done it.
Raegan, it looked like you really were working on your footwork tonight. There were a couple of times you were real patient, made a step or two, then got there. This team was smaller, so they were trying to do some things to you, but looked like you had a pretty good game, just maneuvering around the paint. Did you feel like you did?
Well, thank you. First off, obviously I want some of those layups back, the first ones. I promise I was not tying my stats with Marquisha might say that, but that's not.
Well,
that was not
Harris,
I did take assists away, and we could have broken the record if I would have made 3 of my layups. So anyway, besides the point. In teams like that, you gotta have patience. I feel like Brooklyn is getting there, and you see moments of that where she's trying to figure out her movement in that, and B's doing better in that as well. And so I'm just doing my best to set an example for them as best I can. And so they're coming in and doing a phenomenal job of that, and being patient and knowing when to score, when to kick out, when to split two, when to kick out, things like that. So it's been fun to have the chance to do that against teams like this, and work on that as a team and as post players.
Well, and Sahara Williams, I think, is really setting
100%.
some people up.
She's
She's really elevated probably the last 3 games. You can see her really, really trying to be a complete player. She's, obviously we know that she's guarded, but it's less even about offense. And then look at her offensive production today.
Yeah, she
it's more
tries so
about just
hard to
trying.
rebound.
She's trying hard to do so. She's trying hard to get Raegan the ball. She's trying hard to get Aaliyah open. She's trying hard to get Payton open. She is just, you talk about, that's the player you have to have on the floor. She's making it really hard for us to not have her on the floor.
I was saying that as a result, she scores she scores herself, because then she gets us the ball and we score, and then as a result, she's scoring because then she's 1-on-1. So it's a circle of life, circle of basketball. So it's great.
Jennie, kind of to follow up on that, obviously for Zaya and Aaliyah, not the greatest scoring nights for them, but you have Raegan, Sahara, and Payton all with double-doubles stepping up as your vets on this team. Just obviously not an unfamiliar thing to see those 3 players produce, but in terms of being able to step up for those other players on a night like this, what does that kind of say for the grander scheme of this season with those 3 leading the way?
Well, I think the neat thing is even when you don't have a good shooting night, the 2 of them had 11 assists. And obviously we'd like to have some of those turnovers back, and that was kind of the whole game. But to be able to still have production in ways that you've got to get the ball in certain places, to me that's impressive for 2 young guards. When you're maybe not shooting as well as you want to be able to shoot. So I think that part's good. But like I said the last time, I said this multiple times, we're going to go as far as those guys go. As far as, we got to stay on the same page. We got to continue we're going to have some growing pains. We're going to learn that, but those guys are veterans, and they don't really get a day off. So that's what's going to happen, right? So there's going to be some days, Zaya's on fire, we'll get her the ball. There's days Aaliyah's on fire, we'll get her the ball. And today was a different day. And so that's where we've got to be able to adjust, and we did.
Raegan, what stood out to you about the progression from Keziah and Kaya, especially these last couple weeks?
Their defense, and I know Jennie mentioned it especially, but you really see them turning teams over and then turning that into offense. They've done a phenomenal job of just wanting to learn and soaking up all the knowledge that they can every single day in practice with the few practices that we have had in the past 10 days, the quick turnarounds that we have had. They've just done a phenomenal job of trying to understand the different reads that we have defensively and what screen coverage is going to change every single game and how do we do that, and communicating through all of that. So they've done a phenomenal job, both of them. They've done a phenomenal job of that, and Sahara has set a tone for that defensively, as she always does. And so it's just been a really unique period of growth for them. I think Kai and Kazai, and they work their tails off to really do what this team needs.
Jen, Payton's line is so clean.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was so good today.
Yeah.
She just kind of blends in.
Oh, I don't think she does,
Wow.
but,
Well,
but you
but-
might, yes.
Well, I mean, because she could
No.
get 30 if she really wanted to push for it, but
Mm.
she's such a team player that.
Well, and it's not even like, yes, she is a team player. That's not my point. But she's such a complete player. Like she like she gets so much fuel in her passing.
Mm.
You know, I mean, she has some, you know, where sometimes I'm like, can we just make a single instead of a home run pass? You know, because like her home run passes, like she can get some home run passes. She's
Yeah.
got highlight reel material,
Mhm.
and she finds just as much joy, if not more joy, in that. So. I don't ever want to underestimate that part with it being overshadowed by scoring, right? Because like scoring is something, but in order for your team to score, you got to do multiple things. And I think that's just Payton. That's who she is. She's so good in space. She can set people up. She loves that part. It's like she just likes to be out there, and she just likes to pick people apart and do different things. And some nights she scores, and some nights, they guard her in a different way, and so she finds different things.
If your point guards get into trouble foul-wise or whatever, she can be your point guard, right?
Yeah, she can be a point guard. Yeah, she brings it up in space a lot. I mean, there's times that Raegan will bring it up, and we want that. We want anybody to be able to bring the ball up. Right now, we're working on when you do bring it up, what do we do with it?
Yeah.
Right? Because we're bringing it up, and tonight we got a little bit stuck, on just some basic entry passes, and so that's something that we'll have to work on, and we can make those reads, but I feel better now, even though we turned it over more. I feel better now because we're trying to do things that maybe we did in that first game, second game, third game. You could kind of start to see a little in the fourth. You start to see it in the fifth. Now you're starting to see a little bit more of it, which is what you want. It was deer in headlights. We're a little bit nervous. This is real. You played two really, really good teams to start the season, and that gets you, but I feel like you get to know a lot about your team when you kind of start that way and have to kind of work your way up. It's not about building up confidence, it's chemistry, it's being able to step on the floor and doing what you have to do, it's building trust, it's all those things. Yeah.
Jenny, Raegan just touched on it a little bit ago, but the schedule has been pretty frenetic here for y'all
Yeah.
the last couple weeks. How important is this next week to finally get a chance to get back in and practice some more and maybe work through some things?
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly some details that we've got to be able to learn, but I will say what I've been impressed with our freshmen is that we have been able to treat games as practice too. Like she said, the days that we can't practice, they're watching a lot of film. They're watching film, team film, they're watching individual film, they're watching group film. They're really trying to get better and understand, and they're able to have basketball conversations. In fact, sometimes I think we're so locked into trying to be better basketball players that we kind of forget to use our instincts, and that's where we've got to we'll mesh that world. But it's November, and so you get to see some of that. That's where I think Kaya Smith, I think she's really come alive. I think Kazia's getting more and more confident as time goes. Even tonight when she drove and she didn't have it and she kicked it out to get a reversal and we got another basket, those were things where she couldn't necessarily see and feel that before, and now she's set up some people tonight, those are some things that she's getting more and more comfortable and confident in her overall game too.
Anything else, guys?